I am just informed that Sister Abir will be connecting very, very shortly. But we do have Sister Sahar Vardi who is on standby. And we will now go across to be joined by Sister Sahar, who is based in Jerusalem. She is an anti-militarist activist and a researcher. We are reflecting on the life of the late Walid Daqqa, rahimahumullah. We are paying tribute to this great Palestinian novelist and activist, 38 years in prison, in captivity, and while he was battling cancer. Once again, this actually just shows how merciless this Zionist regime is. And we even saw a statement come out from Itamar Ben Gvir, who is saying that Israel was not crying over the death of Daqqa, who he referred to as a terrorist. But let us remind Itamar Ben Gvir that he will be consigned to the dustbins of history as well. And I'm sure many will be rejoicing at the death of Itamar Ben Gvir, considering what he has actually done, and also looking at this hateful far-right Minister of National Security in Israel. But right now, we're going across to be joined by Sister Sahar. Sister Sahar, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wonderful. Jazakallah khairan so much for joining us, and we trust and hope that we know it hasn't been an easy Ramadan for the people in Palestine and right across Palestine, whether we're talking about Gaza, we're talking about the West Bank, and also in Al-Quds. So I'm sure, it hasn't been an easy Ramadan, but we continue making dua. We continue our support for the people of Palestine. But what we want to do this afternoon, Sister Sahar, is to talk about Walid Daqqa. A few months ago, I had the opportunity of hosting a discussion reflecting on the life of Walid Daqqa, and we know that this was a person who was suffering from cancer for a long time. Sadly, he passed away, but he has been obviously in captivity for a very long time, 38 years. And just to start off with just your thoughts on Walid Daqqa, the personality, the novelist, and just why the people in Palestine hold him in such high regard.
First, it's like you said, indeed, it's a very difficult time in Palestine, and especially today is a very sad day for every Palestinian because of the death of Walid Daqqa. Walid is not just a prisoner and a writer. He's a very special person. I met him, I remember, more than 20 years ago when I just started to be involved in the support and the legal aid for Palestinian prisoners arrested under the Israeli colonization in the prisons. And he was a very special person in the hope and the spirit that he could talk, and how he dealt with his imprisonment, how he made the prison a place for education and raising awareness and giving support for all the detainees around him, and especially investing a lot in educating people. He spent literally these 38 years in studying, teaching, and writing, and he had lots of articles and a couple of books, and we learned a lot from Walid. So this is why, and he was very well known in the prisoners movement as a leader that initiated lots of resistance actions inside the prison, whether it's in the hunger strike strategies, whether in developing legal strategies. And this is why he was all these years subjected for lots of violations and punishments and oppression from the prison authority. And this is also why they were afraid of him, of his freedom. The fact that he was finishing his life. First, you should know that legally, Walid first was sentenced for death penalty. That became a life sentence, an open life sentence, not limited. Later on, a decade before, or maybe 15 years ago, his sentence was limited for 37 years. And later on, he was convicted with another case that they added 2 other years on the 37 years. So he was supposed to be released last year, and they refused to release him. And he was analyzed with cancer, and his lawyer applied for the high court in Israel to be released based on health conditions. And the Israeli doctor confirmed that this serious cancer that Walid suffers will not allow him to live for long. So they were fully aware that Walid is going to die, and still they insisted to keep him till the last moment. This is just reflects the oppression and the violations for the minimum basic rights of any human being, that they didn't allow him to spend at least 1 year or couple of months or even couple of days in the last 2 weeks when his situation deteriorated seriously. The prison authority and the Israeli authority insisted to keep him. And since the beginning of the war, his wife and his daughter were not allowed to visit him. So imagine what's the suffer and the sorrow that this family gets through now when Walid passed away. And this explains why all the Palestinian people treat Walid as a real leader, as a hero, as an icon for the prisoners movement.
Well, he sacrificed so much, Sister Sahar. And if I recall, when I did the program quite a while back, even in terms of raising his family, he did not have this opportunity to raise his family, the upbringing of his daughter. And if my memory serves me right, he even got married while he was in prison, and his daughter was conceived when he was in prison as well. So all of this, his entire life, so he missed out on the family life as well. And all of this, while he was in prison, but he still continued. He earned his master's degree. He wrote a number of books, and he still continued remaining an icon. Like you mentioned, he had a passion for education. He had a passion for literature. All of that, and he's made this massive, massive contribution to the people of Palestine at a huge sacrifice to himself and his family.
Exactly. But as you just described, he was getting married while he in prison, and the authorities didn't allow him never to have children. So at the end of the day, after a battle of long years, in 2020, he managed to smuggle sperm to his wife, and they got their daughter, Milad, that in Arabic reflects for a newborn, a new life. And this reflects the optimism of this special person, how optimistic he was, still with all the suffer, all the difficulties, all the harsh conditions he lived into all the prisons. He was transferred actually to all of the prisons inside the occupied territories inside Israel. He faced all the torture and harassment and intimidation that the prisoners face in the journey of being imprisoned for such a long time, and still he was always optimistic. He was always standing for the others, supporting them, and resisting and working in order to gain more and more rights for the prisoners as a collective inside the prisons. The inspiration through his writings were really unique education for the young people in the Palestinian universities and schools and in the movement. Like most of us memorize some of his writings about life, about the prison, about how to be optimistic, how to continue your life as a human being. And the most important thing is his message that your humanity is the most important thing, the word. If you lose your humanity, you're not, you're using your culture, your other rights as a people as well, not just as an individual. This is the importance of Walid, and this is why it's a serious pity that we lost him today.
Well, Allah obviously knows best. Has taken him away in the month of Ramadan as well. So he is fortunate in that regard, Sister Sahar. And, because again, it just proves, that his end has come in the beautiful month of Ramadan because of the type of person he was, what he had done, what he had achieved, and this huge contribution that he's made towards educating people and, more importantly, inspiring people for the liberation of Palestine as well. What we're going to do, Sister Sar, is I'm going to go for a quick break. We're going to play out a few ads. And when we come back, I just want to focus a bit on, how, personally inspired you, but also a bit on the family that he's left behind, his wife, and you speak about his daughter as well. So, inshallah, we'll talk about that as soon as we get back from this ad break.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Fulfill your zakat conveniently with Ashraful Aid. This Ramadan, let's make your zakat count. Ashraful Aid's zakat distribution is carefully overseen by external boards which ensure its transparency and trust. Make a difference to those who really need it. Join us today to spread hope and compassion to those who need it most. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education, from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
Are you ready for a journey of spiritual significance? Join Khidmatul Awam Pilgrim Services for an unforgettable Umrah experience during Dhul Qa'dah. Walk in the footsteps of the Hujjaj, guided by esteemed scholars Mulana Dawood Samson and Mulana Muhammad Silaji. Our Dhul Qa'dah package departs on May 10th and returns on May 25th via Egypt Air out of Johannesburg. Experience 9 nights in the blessed city of Medina and 5 nights in the sacred city of Mecca, with packages starting from just 27,500 rands. Enjoy a fully guided tour, including Umrah visa, Jumu'ah prayers in both harams, seamless transfers, and enriching ziyarats. Feel free to visit our offices nationwide and speak to our knowledgeable consultants, or simply contact us at 010-6005-786. Hikmatul Awam Pilgrim Services, your pathway to a blessed journey.
From samosas and half moons to cook sisters and roti, everything between iftar and sehri makes sunfoil cooking oil an essential part of your Ramadan. Approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a healthy diet, this blessed month, give your family the best with sunfoil, because tradition just tastes better.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists, with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Well, the time is just gone, 4:27, as we continue with the Iftar Drive, and I will be with you for another hour until we hand over to Maulana Yunus Kawanga to take you through the time of Iftar. But this afternoon, we are reflecting on the life of Walid Daqqa. And this is a man, 38 years in prison, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken him to his mercy. He has passed on. And we are reflecting on his life. We are paying tribute to this giant of a man. This man who has contributed so much from within the walls of the prison to the struggle of people of Palestine. He has inspired so many people over the 38 years, particularly the youth, through his writings as a novelist as well. And this is the reason why we are talking with Sister Sahar Vardi, who is reflecting on the life and paying tribute to this giant of a man. Sister Sahar, just to continue, and I'm certain that, the family of Walid Daqqa, and I was just looking at a tweet and a comment about showing the picture of Milad, and, as you pointed out, she was conceived through sperm that was smuggled from the Israeli prisons. And this is now a girl who has not been able to even embrace her father, because we know over a period of time, every time there was talk about, calling for his relief, but at the end of the day, they just kept on increasing his prison sentence as well. And again, when we talk about his martyrdom and his death, at the end of the day, it is being felt by all Palestinians. We've even seen out of Gaza, we've also seen some comments come through from the West Bank, from the people from Hamas as well, that they recognize, what a great personality Walid Daqqa was, and this massive contribution that he has made to the Palestinian cause for liberation.
Yes, definitely. Like his family, the small family, his wife, his daughter later, but not just his brothers and his mother, the mother that visited Walid for decades in the so many different prisons. She dedicated her whole life to move from one prison to another, to visit Walid and to visit other prisoners that their mothers were not able to visit them in the early years of the 70s, 80s, in the 80s and the 90s. And later, the mother was ill, and she was suffering from Alzheimer, and she couldn't recognize Walid. So Walid lived also this sorrow of not seeing his mother, and the mother are not able to recognize who's this person. It was heartbreaking to see this short interview with Walid's family describing this visit when the mother couldn't recognize him. And I think the fact that Walid was really involved in the life of the Palestinians outside of the prison via his writings and being involved in the struggle, being involved in the educational life. Walid wrote a play while he's in prison, talking about his prison and his experience, and in a very human way, like he was describing at one point he and another detainee from the high Golan, the occupied Golan, managed to build a Arabic musician instrument, oud, in order for this guy from Julan to play, because he was playing oud before being imprisoned. And they managed to keep this oud for 6 months hidden in their cell till the prison authority discovered, and they confiscated it, and they didn't allow them to keep the oud. This is the kind of Walid. And as I said, the writings contributed in the awareness of the people about the importance of Walid as an icon in the prisoners' movement. This is why
he certainly has
by everyone.
Yes, Sister Sahar, he certainly has
Hello?
obviously left behind a legacy as a Palestinian hero with his passing away. Just one other thing, and I know this has been an issue in the past as well, where sometimes the bodies of the prisoners have not been released to their families. And there have been a number of instances where the families could not get closure, even in providing a dignified burial to their loved ones as well. Anything that we know about in terms of Walid, in terms of funerals, in terms of his body, or is this still very fresh at this point in time?
So far, the authorities didn't declare what they are planning to do, but correct, as you just described, there is several bodies of prisoners who died, whether out of torture or health neglect or physical attacks, especially after the 7th of October. There's more than 14 cases of prisoners who died before Walid inside the Israeli prison just in these 6 months, and their bodies are still kept with the Israeli side. So in total, there's more than 25 Palestinian prisoners that they died since 2015, and their bodies are still kept with the Israeli side, not allowing their families to bury them in dignified way. And I hope that they're not going to use the same policy against Walid. There's no reason for this, because Walid died out of health neglect in the prisons after finishing almost the whole period that he was supposed to spend inside prison. So there's no reason to keep his body, because the classical argument by the Israeli side, these people were involved in attacks or whatever before their arrest. But those who were spending so many years, like, it's a collective punishment against the family. It's not a punishment for the body of Walid. Walid already died. Walid almost finished his sentence. Keeping his body would be considered a collective punishment for the whole family.
Well, certainly, but what we will do, Sister Sahar, is obviously we will follow developments as well. But for now, we say shukran, we say jazakallah khairan to you. We do appreciate you taking time out this afternoon and right here with us here on Salam Media to reflect on the life of this legend and also this martyr in every sense of the word, who basically gave it all. He gave up his entire life, he gave up his family, and obviously our du'as are with him, with his family. Our thoughts go out to his family as well, to his daughter, to his wife, and the rest of his family. At this very, very difficult time. It is a challenging time, but at the end of the day, we still remain hopeful, we remain positive, and we still are, we continue standing by our Palestinian brothers, our sisters, and until they obviously achieve their liberation, as we always have done, inshallah. So for now, assalamu alaikum, and once again, we thank you for your time.
Assalamu alaikum. It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Sister Sahar Vardi, who is joining us, who joined us this afternoon to reflect on the life of Walid Daqqa. And I recall a few months ago when I covered this, and it wasn't only about Walid Daqqa, it was about one or two other prisoners as well. And this is once again, the brutality of this Zionist monster regime that we've known it by, this genocidal regime that will stop at no ends. And this was a man for a long, long time battling with cancer, yet he was neglected in every sense of the word, but he still continued to remain strong. He remained steadfast as well. And once again, we hear of someone who left here a legacy, but also Allah taking him in His mercy, and again achieving martyrdom in prison during the month of Ramadan. And once again, we want to reinforce that even when this Itamar Ben Gavir talks about Israel will not be crying for Walid Daqqa, well, Itamar, we want to remind you that I don't think, in fact, I think everybody will be very, very happy. The day you go, I suppose there are going to be huge celebrations right across the entire world. With that, we're going to go for a break. But before we get there, just to remind you about Emergivac Sharia, South Africa's first and only fully Sharia compliant and family or medical, takaful, and wellness product, which is all listeners, Ramadan Kareem. So Emergivac Sharia, South Africa's first and only fully Sharia compliant family medical, takaful, a wellness product, wishing all listeners Ramadan Kareem. Download the Emergivac app today and get free immediate access to the Emergivac Sharia collection of du'as, hadiths, and Quran, and much, much more. We're going to go for a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Shinas Parak, Penny Appeal, South Africa.